I still remember the moment every eye in that restaurant turned toward me. The laughter had already started before I even understood why. Then I saw her, a visibly pregnant woman walking toward my table with a nervous smile, while my coworkers struggled to hide their grins. They thought they had created the perfect joke, the kind that would humiliate the quiet men who never fought back. They had no idea that one decision I made that evening would change not only my life but every single one of theirs forever. Before we continue, if you believe kindness is never a weakness and everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes in compassion, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that touch the heart. For most of my life, I had been the invisible person in every room. I worked hard, kept my promises, stayed away from office gossip, and treated everyone with respect. Unfortunately, in some workplaces, kindness becomes an invitation for cruel people to entertain themselves. My coworkers constantly teased me for being single, calling me boring and claiming I would never find someone because I was too serious. I ignored their comments because I believed that character mattered more than popularity. When they announced a company dinner at an expensive restaurant, I expected nothing unusual. I dressed neatly, arrived on time, and joined everyone around the large table. The joke started immediately. They laughed about blind dates and relationships, throwing sarcastic remarks in my direction. I smiled politely, hoping the evening would pass without incident. Then the restaurant door opened. A young woman entered wearing a simple white dress beneath a long coat. Her pregnancy was impossible to miss. She looked around uncertainly until one of my coworkers waved her over. The entire table suddenly became quiet, waiting for my reaction. Someone loudly announced that they had arranged a surprise blind date for me because they were tired of seeing me alone. More laughter followed. They expected me to feel embarrassed. They expected me to reject her immediately because she was pregnant. They expected the woman herself to become part of their cruel entertainment. But the moment I looked into her eyes, I didn't see a joke. I saw someone just as uncomfortable as I was. Her smile wasn't confident. It was forced. Her hands trembled slightly as she stood beside the table. In that instant, I realized she wasn't part of the cruelty. She had probably been told an entirely different story. Instead of laughing with everyone else, I stood up, pulled out the chair beside me, and thanked her for coming. The laughter around the room stopped almost instantly. Throughout dinner, I ignored the whispers behind my back. Instead, I listened to her story. Her name was Emily. She had been engaged until the father of her unborn child disappeared after discovering the pregnancy. She had recently moved to the city, struggling to rebuild her life while preparing to become a single mother. Someone from the office had contacted her through a community volunteer group, telling her she would be meeting a kind man interested in getting to know her. She had no idea she was walking into a trap. The realization hit me like a wave. The joke wasn't only against me. It was against a woman carrying an innocent child while facing one of the hardest seasons of her life. For the first time in years, I felt genuine anger. Not because they tried to embarrass me. Because they chose someone already carrying enough pain. After dinner ended, I walked Emily to her car. We spoke for another hour in the parking lot. There were no romantic expectations, no dramatic promises. Just two strangers sharing honest conversations about disappointment, loneliness, and hope. Before leaving, I apologized for everything she had experienced that evening, even though none of it had been my fault. She smiled for the first time that night. Over the following weeks, we stayed in touch. We met for coffee, visited bookstores, and took slow walks through the park. I attended one of her doctor's appointments simply because she admitted she hated going alone. I helped assemble a baby crib after discovering she had spent hours trying to do it herself. Some people assumed I was trying to play the hero. The truth was much simpler. I cared. Not because she was pregnant. Not because I expected anything in return. Because kindness should never depend on someone's circumstances. Meanwhile, word spread throughout the office. The people who had planned the prank couldn't believe we continued seeing each other. They mocked me even more, claiming I was ruining my own future. Then life surprised all of us. Months later, Emily gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Holding the tiny child for the first time changed something inside me. His fingers wrapped around mine with incredible strength, as if reminding me that hope often arrives in the smallest hands. I wasn't his biological father. But love has never been measured by biology alone. As the months passed, Emily and I grew closer. We built our relationship slowly, carefully, and honestly. Eventually, I proposed, not because I felt responsible, but because I couldn't imagine my future without them. When our wedding invitations reached my former co-workers, many of them were shocked. Several apologized for what they had done years earlier. Some admitted they had been jealous of my peaceful life. Others confessed they never expected kindness to overcome humiliation. Ironically, many of them were now dealing with broken relationships, loneliness, and regrets of their own. The same people who once laughed at compassion had discovered that cruelty always leaves scars, including on those who create it. Our family wasn't built through perfect circumstances. It was built through imperfect people choosing love over pride. Every time our son called me Dad, I remembered that humiliating dinner. The prank designed to destroy my confidence had instead introduced me to the greatest blessing of my life. Sometimes life doesn't punish cruel people immediately. Sometimes it rewards kind people so beautifully that the cruelty becomes meaningless. Years later, I drove past that same restaurant with Emily sitting beside me and our son laughing in the back seat. I smiled as memories flooded my mind. What others had planned as the worst night of my life had quietly become the beginning of everything I had ever dreamed of. Their joke failed because compassion is stronger than mockery. Their laughter faded because genuine love always lasts longer than temporary entertainment. And the woman they expected me to reject became the person who taught me that families are created by commitment, sacrifice, and unconditional love, not by perfect beginnings. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who believes kindness can change lives, and subscribe for more unforgettable stories that remind us why compassion always matters. Before this story ends, please leave a comment with the words, "Kindness always wins." Your message may inspire someone who needs hope today. The greatest victories in life rarely begin with applause. Sometimes they begin with humiliation, tears, and a single choice to treat another human being with dignity when everyone else chooses cruelty. In the end, the people who laughed remembered that night with regret, but I remembered it with gratitude, because the cruel joke they planned became the miracle that gave me a family, a purpose, and a love that would last forever.